Angry Hangman Adam Page came out to start AEW Dynamite number 300, and I was like, of course he's angry, of course he's upset. He gets beaten up every single week, and as he was about to tell us, he is done with this ship. Also, hello my friends, and welcome to an episode of AEW Dynamite Ups and Downs, the only wrestling review show you need. I do have to take a small tangent just now, which I know is going to be very strange if you're not into football/soccer, but I just saw it before I started recording this, so it just feels wrong not to say something. But Liverpool forward Diego Jota passed away today in a car accident. Man, he only just got married. He only just won the Premier League. He was like 28 years old. I just felt like I should say something. I do apologise if that comes across as gratuitous or anything like that, but it just goes to show. We all need to be kinder to each other. We all need to remember that life is fleeting and terrifying and scary, but also wonderful. So maybe let's all shout on the internet less than we already do. Now we'll take a second. We shall reset. And yes, congratulations to AEW. They just hit number 300 when it comes to Dynamite, which is totally nuts. And actually 2019 was a long old time ago, which sort of ties in. Let's up those downs. Basically, Page didn't waste anybody's time during this opening promo either, because we all know the deal. He has to beat Jon Moxley, he has to win the AEW World Championship, and he is happy to ride through death to get it. And I was like, okay, one, that means you're gonna go through hell, or two, you know, like a nice place in Texas that is called death, or three, you are literally gonna drive through death. Neither of these options are great. He's also gonna get the championship out of the briefcase and hold it above his head, and that's a vow he will put his life on. I'd be like, Adam, come here. Not everything needs to be about you staying alive. You are not a BG. If you do beat Jon Moxley, that will be great. And if you don't, we'll still forgive you, man. You are enough. Thankfully, though, he just told us he is going to drive through death. So if something does go awry, he can just turn the car around and go back there. And then he said you'll have to kill him if he lets this moment pass him by. It's like, we've somehow arrived back here. Can we talk about Care Bears or like Teletubbies or something? We need a bit of brightness. He watches wrestling though, and he knows, especially with the Death Riders, the distraction will be coming, so why don't we just embrace it? And given that we are in Texas, he challenged Jon Moxley in the main event to All In, which is essentially AEW's WrestleMania, to a Texas death match. I was like, man, we are not in Toto anymore, Kansas. Jon Moxley's music hit right away. He probably had a hard on when he heard this. I should not have said that. But actually he was like, you don't want a Texas death match. I mean, the only reason you won the Owen Hart tournament is because that's your level. You can't reach the peak of the mountain. Now, of course, he said mountain. Everyone's gone, oh my gosh, he means Darby Allin. Actually, Darby Allin probably should come back All In to help Hangman Adam Page. I mean, the Death Riders did try and kill him. The point is, though, the cowboy doesn't have this inside of hhim. He always wants to be safe and protected. When Adam walked up to him, he slapped him right in the face. And of course, this was when the Death Riders attacked. But poor Wheeler Yuta got absolutely slammed. That is his role now. He's going to buzz around bzz, 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 like a fly. And then someone's going to punch him in the nose. Before that, too, Hangman had tried to stab Jon Moxley with a fork. It's like, where did that come from? Maybe somebody had a packed lunch. When Marina Shafir walked in, she just slapped Hangman around the face over and over. And this is when Claudio Castagnoli was back and the Riders of Death did their thing and they beat up on Hangman Adam Page. And it's a good thing he was already annoyed. Now he was just going to be more annoyed. I was kind of going, wait a minute, where are Adam's friends? When he got on the microphone and said, ha ha, that's all you've got, I'm still moving. And just when the Riders of Death were coming back to the ring, that's when Samoa Joe and the operations did turn up. I was like, listen, guys, I'm glad you are here, but you are a little bit late. It actually wasn't the best plan because Marina still got a few more shots in, but this is when Page went totally crazy and he grabbed the briefcase. And as we've learned, this is Jon Moxley's kryptonite. Maybe his mum's in there because he could not handle the fact that Adam had finally touched it. So he went, fine, fine. You want your Texas death match, you're going to get it. That's all he needed to do. When Page was like, oh, by the way, you don't think I have it in me to do whatever it takes. When he turned around and he hit the buckshot lariat onto Marina Shafir. Honestly, you've never seen a crowd like it. They popped. Now, the opposite didn't care. In fact, they totally loved this, so that made me laugh. And yes, at one point, Jon Moxley said, oh man, people that call themselves the best in the world, they're just basic bitches. So maybe he is making a reference and maybe he isn't making a reference. You can decide, and make sure you do so in the comments below. But I thought this was a great build to that main event. They both come across as unhinged. They've just told you where there is going to be some shenanigans. But before all that, we're going to stab each other, because that is what happens in Texas death matches. And it's Jon Moxley in a massive main event. We know what Hangman does in this stipulation. So if you are not like into stuff that makes you go squeeze your leaves in your Beasley, I would start to worry this thing's gonna be fucked up. up. Imagine if Paige loses as well, there's going to be riots and rubber chickens thrown in the ring, but I actually think he is going to win, and I think it's going to be a warm and fuzzy moment. I am giving it an up. I thought this was expertly well done. When we saw Rachel Brosnan and Tony Storm advertising the new Superman movie, I was like, did I just do some drugs? This is really, really weird. Storm said that if she was a wrestler, she could be the Metropolis Maven or something like that. And Rachel's like, oh, that sounds great, because I used to wrestle in college, mostly. I just love the fact that you do get these collaborations thanks to WBD. I mean, in what world did you ever think you'd see Superman being promoted on AEW? As we have got here. What about that movie? I'm a big DC guy, I'm a big Batman guy, but I love Superman too. We have to get it right. She then went to the ring because it was about to be Mercedes Moné versus Mina Shirakawa, but here's the thing, she had her big spread, like Mercedes does, but she wasn't able to eat her dinner, because as the commentators kept telling us, look into Tony Storm's face, I think she's a bit worried about Mercedes, because Mercedes has beaten her up. There's your story. Now, my favourite part about all of this as well is that you had some people going, oh, I can't believe Mercedes Moné won again, as she did successfully defend her TBS title. But you just know those same individuals, if Mina would have won, would have gone, oh my gosh, I can't believe we did that to Mercedes only a couple of weeks before All In. So let's say it together. Grifters. All that really matters is that this was a phenomenal match, and man, Mina Shirakawa was like, listen, Mercedes, I don't like your leg, so I'm gonna flub that thing up, and she even did the figure 4 round right at the ring post. So Mercedes was like, oh yeah, well I'm gonna work on your back. And honestly, they kicked the crap out of each other. This was super duper whooper good, and you should watch it. There was plenty of mocking as well, because Mina did Mercedes dance, whereas Moné copied what Tony Storm does when she wiggles and jiggles. But it actually looked like she was just having some kind of a problem in the ring. But I guess that is what it looks like. There was this great moment as well when we went out of the statement maker back into the figure 4, and then we had the DDT, and then we just had Meteora, Meteora, Meteora. And while it did lack jeopardy, because of course Mina was never going to win, they just had such intensity here. I sat in my stupid chair, I thought to myself, this is a really good professional wrestling match. We also got this really cool combo when Mina went back to the figure 4, and she hit a dragon screw, and she hit a flipping sling blade from the top, and it got quite violent when Mercedes got out of the glamorous driver, because she really whacked her when Shirakawa finally hit that move. 1, 2, ooh, that rhymes, so it must be true. At this point too, I can kind of tell how it was going to end, because I think AEW wants to come back to this feud at another time. So when Mina went for her last figure 4, Mercedes decided to hit the most devastating move. In all in sports entertainment surprise roll-up, she got the 1, 2, 3. But when you have a match that is this well put together, and the finish was as well executed as this, I don't mind. In fact, that's probably the right time to use the move. Mercedes made sure to beat up Mina Shirakawa after this too, of course, which was when Tony Storm made the save. But she got too focused on this, so Moné came back to the ring, and she smacked Tony 1 as she stood above her, so she just Britney Spears'd it. She did it again. She also destroyed her dinner and threw a drink over Luther, which actually got boos from the crowd. So if we do a big old angle next week, I think this thing, quite ironically, is ready to cook, and you just know they're going to have a good match. Even if they went in there at 80%, it's still going to Raw, but they'll be at 147.2%, which is not physically possible. I'm giving it an up, and yeah, after the pay-per-view, we got to make sure Mina Shirakawa stays involved. She's got the chops. This or Matthew Jackson had bought Nicholas Jackson a giant limousine full of sneakers, because he was all like, whoa, congratulations on 300 episodes of Dynamite. But don't worry, I used the company credit card, so essentially this came from Tony Khan. They went to their old school, and they went to their old house, and they were most unimpressed. This skip was a little bit weird, but I like Matthew and Nick Jackson. I think they play their roles very well. They come across like wonderfully obnoxious assholes. When it was time to determine the number 2 spot in the men's gauntlet at All In, I tell you, I'm a big fan of this. I love the Royal Rumble, it's my favourite event, but everybody always goes, oh my gosh, you got number 1, I can't believe it. And then number 2 comes out, and people just crap on them when it's exactly the same. 1 and 2 have to start the same time, so if 1 wins, awesome. And if 2 wins, that's awesome too. It's the same with the gauntlet. It was also MJF versus Brody King versus AR Fox versus Anthony Bowens, and man, they just put on a clinic, mostly because Brody was mega over because we were essentially in his hometown. MJF just bailed to do commentary because why would I get involved? Whereas Anthony Bowens and AR Fox kind of worked together because they were like, well, Brody King's a monster and we're not as monstrous, so that's what we should do. Power Rangers. MJF also tried to pay Brody King off to start, but he just threw the money away. And then this dude just murks some people. He is a true joy to watch, and I really hope at some point in 2025, we give him the big old push and maybe a title. He never drops the ball. Like I say, he's always entertaining, and the fans now love him too. we've got something. He also did this incredible dive over the top rope, which is where Maxwell went, ha ha, I'm going to smack you with a chair. And of course, it's wonderful wrestling rules because it is a four-way. For some reason, there's no disqualification. So I'm amazed somebody didn't shoot somebody else with a gun. Fox ended a leg sweep because he loves the Karate Kid, but essentially it was just Brody, I'm going to crush you, I'm going to crush you. And after he had tricked Maxwell, he put all three guys in the corner and did a triple cannonball quarter splash thingamajig. That must have totally hurt. But once again, it just made him look like a warrior, but not Warrior Xena Princess, whatever that was called. Although she was pretty cool too. Maybe we should make them a tag team. What? We then got a bunch of cutters because wrestling in 2025 loves that. When Brody finally caught MJF and did that choke thing when he holds him above the floor. But when he got hit, it meant he dropped MJF. And all of a sudden, Anthony Bowens hit the arrival on AR Fox when he also tried to do it on Brody King. That was the worst idea ever. He got Gonzo bombed, and just when Brody King was going to win, AR Fox, who had a tremendous outing by the way, flew in from nowhere. He broke that up when MJF had taken his Phoenix down. He applied the Salt of the Earth armbar. AR Fox was like, damn it, my arm already hurts. And he tapped out. So it does mean that MJF is number 2 in the gauntlet, and I imagine that Mystico's going to be in there as well. And given that Mark Briscoe was number 1, he walked out wearing an MJF has a tiny kosher pickle t-shirt. Now, AEW needs to start selling these. I'll never be able to wear it in public, but I just need it in my wardrobe. He also wanted to ignore the Hurt Syndicate who were at ringside too and said, I want to talk to you, Mr. Little Pickle Guy, because you said some horrible things about me last week. Damn it, I'm not going to let it stand. So next week on Dynamite, they're going to have a talkie talk. And I have no idea what that means. I presume he means a promo segment. So that is it. From now on Dynamite, if people are going to talk to each other or have an interview, it is called a talkie talk. They got even more nuts because Jet Speed just walked out. And these guys do not learn. They clearly didn't study this at university. Because they tried to beat up the Hurt Syndicate, and I will give you 3 guesses as to what happened. 1, they were successful and took them down. 2, the Hurt Syndicate beat them up once. Or 3, the Hurt Syndicate beat them up 7,972 times. It's that one. And Mike Bailey and Kevin Knight are total loons. They kept getting on the microphone going, oh, we're not done, we're not done. So they must have seen Hangman Adam Page on the opening segment and gone, that's a good idea. I was like, bros, it's not. And at one point, I swear they actually said, oh, please beat us up more. But then Kevin Knight said, oh, Shelton Benjamin, your mum's a bitch. Something like that. And now they're going to have a match on Collision. Now, here is the deal. I'm giving the match an up because it was too good, and I still cannot give you an up or down on this, because if Jet Speed lose it all in, this could be one of the worst decisions ever made, but I don't think that's going to happen. I think we're beating them down and beating them down and beating them down because they are going to win, and that is going to be absolutely tremendous, and once again, it's going to make you feel good in your Tootsie Toes. So we have to hold fire and wait and see what AEW is going to do. But if you are going to beat the Hurt Syndicate, doing it on a platform like All In with super baby faces like Mike Bailey and Kevin Knight, well, that's a pretty good idea. So let's be patient and wait. The Bucks then arrived after the shortest reunion tour ever because they were about to team with Takeshita to take on Kyle O'Reilly, Bandido, and Roderick Strong. So it's another one. And also it was our weekly designated party match. I found out this week that some people don't like the term party match because it makes it sound too much fun. Yeah, that's right. When I tune into wrestling to spend my life hours on it, I want to be bored. I don't want to be entertained. I want to feel like a pile of crap. Parties are meant to be good. You do also have to mention the fact the fans chanted PWG during this as well, so they know the deal, and any wrestling promotion worth their salt should be appealing to the people that do come in the building. So let's chat about that. Otherwise, this was so damn good. Bandido went crazy at the start of this and certainly targeted Takeshita because they're going to have their big ROH World title match soon. And when Nick Jackson was doing arm drags, he was shouting Lucha Libre. Goofy wrestling for life. Matthew Jackson was getting his ass kicked at one point, so Nick had to make the sneaky blind tag when all of a sudden they used their brotherly powers and they were on top. When Takeshita hit the least devastating move in all of sports entertainment, the Blue Thunder Bomb. But as you can probably tell, there's a bit more excitement to my voice because he didn't go for the cover. Bravo to that guy, he's learned. Well, it doesn't work. I should probably go and do something else. That's true too, though, because the pop-up powerbomb he hit on Bandido, I was like, oh my gosh, that guy is dead. And even when he finally got back to his feet and went for the 21-plex, the driver that the Bucks took him down with, poor Bandido, man. Somebody was taking that wanted poster literally. There was then a big old pile in to stop a 1-2-ooh, and this one was so fun as well. And while everybody did a good job, I think we do have to shout out Bandido. After the last few weeks, he's really found his feet. Or his bandana, whatever the flub you call it. Eventually, Kyle O'Reilly started to fight back, because of course he wants to be the best Kyle, but basically, the Young Bucks did get the super kick party when Kyle got hit with every finisher under the sun, including both of Takeshita's and the Raging Fire. He pinned him for the 1, 2, 3, and that makes sense too. He needs some momentum. He's going after the Ring of Honor World title. It really made me laugh because Will Ospreay and Swerve Strickland waited until this point to run out there, because they're good human beings, when they said, "Oh, hi, Matt and Nick Jackson. We made you a challenge last week, and we do not believe you've accepted." They also clarified that the whole EVP thing doesn't mean that Will and Swerve become EVPs. It just means the Young Bucks lose their EVP ship. Really made me chuckle. That was debated all week long. So I am kind of sad. I told you this last week. I wanted Will Ospreay and Swerve Strickland to be stuck in an office going, "Matt, we really made a mistake." I think I then called them the Young Cucks, because why wouldn't you do that? When Matt and Nick were like, "Listen, why would we do that? We're in charge. We booked the show, not you." When Will just went into business for himself and said, "Well, I'll tell you why. Because if you beat us at All In, it means we do not get to challenge for the AEW World title for 1 year." And Swerve looked at him like he'd stolen his lunch. He's like, "Excuse me." And while the Young Bucks did accept, they said, "But, you better have Swerve Strickland say yes, because he doesn't look happy." When Swerve looked into this for 8 seconds and went, "Oh, I'll do it anyway." Almost like that was planned. I do have something to talk about here. I'll get to it in just 1 second. But I was a bit like, if the Young Bucks are in charge, can't they just ban Will Ospreay and Swerve Strickland for challenging for the World Championship anyway? But then I guess if there was a tournament, they could get through it and do that. Then I was like, well, could Matt and Nick say no to that as well? It's probably why this EVP ship needs a little bit more clarification. It is all really good though, and I'm so excited about that match because it is going to be good. And at least we have stakes. Again, in 1 second, I'm going to give you other stakes I think that would have been better, but I am going to give it an up. Great match. Everything else was fabulous as well. I have no problem with it at all. Kenny Omega then became friends with Superman, as MJF became friends with Lex Luthor, as we had another one of these adverts. I was just like, this is the most surreal thing ever, when because Ospreay and Strickland were in the ring, we were having a heroes versus villains match. This is my kind of wrestling. It also was against the Beast Mortis and Dralistico. So how did Dralistico sneak in there? But the major takeaway was, by the way, Swerve and Will have been working together. Now they are a phenomenal tag team, and they really are. Some of the Mortal Kombat combos they were pulling off, I was like, flub me sideways, they're great. This is where my down comes though, because it hit me like a ton of bricks. I was like, do you know what would be better for Swerve and Will versus the Young Bucks to be competing over? The AEW tag team titles. Because again, I just seen the Young Bucks and gone, oh my gosh, they're amazing. And I was watching these two guys going, oh my gosh, they're amazing. And I understand we have the Hurt Syndicate at Jet Speed, but maybe we could have done a 4-way, which was a little bit lame. But I just think it would have taken those titles, which do need throwing up the mountain, and put them on top of the tree. So I'm going to give it a tiny down. I think that's personal to me, and I think it's like a massive nerdy thing to do. And if Jet Speed do win those belts, that'd be a massive thumbs up. But I kind of think that Will and Swerve would then go off in their separate directions, and this would have kept it going. Speculate like a wild man, but I felt it, I can't unfeel it. Mortis also went instantly nuts as soon as the bell hit, so Swerve and Will did double Hurricane Ranas and double dives, because it is 2025. Then I was like, do I need to start a dive counter? And then Mortis, even though he's massive, also did a dive. So it's up to you in the comments. Do we start a dive counter that will go over WWE and AEW? And remember, there's going to be mistakes, because I will miss one. The choice is yours. The best part was Dralisco then went and tried to beat up Prince Nana, which served as the distraction. That's when I realized Swerve and Will, we can call them Saw. Why haven't we been doing this for months? From now on, they're called Saw S-A-W. It, of course, led to the Will Ospreay hot tag, which is always amazing, and Dralistico and Mortis just totally understood what they were meant to do and bumped their asses off. And honestly, some of the combos they continue to do. Because we had a Swerve Stomp Stormbreaker combo, then we had a Stars Clash House Call combo, which got the 1, 2, 3. It's like, they really do need to be the tag team champions, or fight for the tag team titles. Though actually, after All In, I think they're going after World Championships instead. Unless they do lose, because then it would be 1 year until the next All In. That doesn't feel like a good idea. Still giving it an up. Talented folk. When Dynamite 300 was headlined by Kota Ibushi versus Okada, if somebody had told you this in 2018, they would have been punched right in the face because it sounds so ludicrous. But here we are, and I just thought it was the best way to do on episode 300, because it reminded you the wrestling world has changed, and you can argue about it till the cows come home. But it is much better now. Ian Ricky Barney even told us the last time they wrestled was 2021. A lot has changed since then. And Taz was like, do you realize how important these guys are to the modern scene? Which is also true. And of course, the fans were super into it. when they punched each other so hard. So no matter all the trials and tribulations they have gone through, all they know is that when they are in the ring, they have to attack each other. This was some stiff stuff. I mean, it was the same with the kicks, and even the crossbody was thrown in there. When Okada grabbed Ibushi's face and threw it into Simba Still Steps, I turned into his dad. I was like, Okada, you do know he's been through a lot. Maybe you could be a little bit nicer to him. They got even more brutal kicks and even the air raid crash neck breaker. I was like, well, man, it makes me feel oogly boogly. And after Ibushi had fought out of that rainmaker, Okada drop kicked him into the turnbuckle. I'm pretty sure he's got whiplash. His neck just went ping, 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 ping. And again, the poor man had neck issues. Okada then went back to slamming this man right in the face when I'm pretty sure he dropped him on his head with a German suplex. And I was like, look, at least it's compelling stuff, but at the same time, please calm down. Ibushi then missed with the Kamigoye, so Okada missed with the Rainmaker. And by this point, I was totally hooked because I knew Okada was going to win, but it wasn't 100% what we were going to do. But more importantly, Ibushi here just looked better than he has done for ages. They were swinging, they were missing, they were doing wrestling tennis going back and forth when essentially Okada did catch him with a drop kick. He did catch him with the Rainmaker and he got the 1, 2, 3. But it was just so nice to see them both have such an impressive outing. Should probably go out of your way to watch it. Of course, Okada and the Don Callis family attacked Ibushi after this, so I am just going to give it another down, because you just get way too many of these in AEW. I'm pretty sure it was after every single match, and we should have saved it for here, because you could see what was coming a mile away, which was the best thing. Kenny Omega made his return to AEW to save his friend, which also meant at the end of Dynamite 300, the Golden Lovers were back. I mean, it's the story that will go on forever. Trent even snuck out here, and I think he tried to hit Kenny with a pipe, but he stopped him when Ibushi and Omega did a double German suplex onto Okada when they gave each other a big hug, and it hit me right here. I was like, oh man, isn't it great when baby faces win, which ties into Hangman Adam Page. But of course it gets it up. Great match, great reunion. Kenny Omega will be good for All In. And given that Okada's going to have 42,799 individuals running to help him, Ibushi can help his pal too. That, my friends, it's good professional wrestling. So who could possibly be upset with that? And actually, given that it was meant to be a big old episode of Dynamite, this was really good, and I am going to give it an up. I essentially think it ticked all your boxes. And even the downs I've given it are very personal to me, and maybe it have been a little bit finickety-pickety, but I can't help what happens up here. But yeah, if you were debating watching it, change that right now. Also, please do drop me a comment below and let me know what you thought about Dynamite and dive counters. Like the video, share the video, and subscribe. Click the video on the screen, which is ups and downs for Monday Night Raw. But otherwise, have a great week. I don't think we have any pay-per-views this weekend, which is the greatest thing ever. And then we have the craziest weekend ever. So let's get our rest in now. See you soon.